evening. This is the Vsb TV 11 News for Thursday, March 13th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story: 3 months after taking over the financial stewardship of the embattled Corporation of Hamilton on the grounds of maladministration, Home Affairs Minister Senator Michael Fay has provided them with a set of financial instructions and given up control. At the same time, a $20 million fiscal budget that includes a $100,000 grant towards the Global Black Mayors Conference has been approved. Mr. Fay describes what financial instructions are involved.
The financial instructions are as close as we can get to those that government has. They basically require certain things to be done, certain procedures and policies to be followed internally to make sure that there's checks and balances in respect of how corporation money is being spent. So, for example, with a budget that needs to be approved by the council and then also approved by the minister. There are layers within those financial instructions as to levels of spending and who can sign checks and who has the authority to spend monies. So, for example, anything that's, say, over $50,000 that is not already pre-approved in a budget, in the budget must be also approved by the ministry, which is somewhat very similar to what goes on in government, where things over $50,000 must be approved by cabinet.
Would the $100,000 grant for the Mayor's Conference be included?
The line item in that budget did include, from the one that I had approved, did include funds for the Black Mayors Conference. It's expected that due diligence would be done, and I have been in correspondence through my permanent secretary with the corporation through this period of time. At the moment, that money has not been formally signed off on under the stewardship order, but basically, again, anything that's over $50,000 in respect of some of these would probably need, I believe, under those financial instructions, must be approved by the ministry as well. So it's anticipated, and the corporation has said this repeatedly, that they will continue to do their due diligence before they have that final spend on that particular issue.
The Bermuda police have released a statement announcing that detectives are not currently seeking any suspects in respect to the deaths of Myron and Regina Robinson. Mr. and Mrs. Robinson were both found dead earlier this week in their St. George's home. Today, police stated that the forensic autopsies have been conducted on Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, and initial conclusions of the forensic pathologist have been received by police. The police also stated that this has been an extremely traumatic experience for everyone involved, especially the children, parents and other family members and friends left behind to grieve their sudden and untimely death. The families of both victims have been seen by the investigating officers with their assigned family liaison officers, and they have been informed of the findings of the forensic pathologist. Police are continuing to investigate the matter and are asking anyone who may have information regarding Mr. and Mrs. Robinson's movements in the 24 hours leading up to their deaths on Monday, March 10th, to contact the Serious Crimes Unit at 247-1739. St. George's standard-bearer and MP Kenneth Bascom and his team of town officials have returned to Bermuda from their first-ever official visit to Williamsburg and Jamestown, Virginia, to learn how these historic towns are presented to visitors. Mr. Bascom said he was impressed by the amount of information that was shared with them and was grateful for the help the delegates had received back home.
Here I would like to say thank you to the Ministry of Tourism, who were partial sponsors of the trip, and a few people out in the community who came forward and allowed us to be able to travel to Williamsburg and Jamestown. We left on the 28th of February and returned on the 7th of March. And I'm going to say it again, I believe that the tours that we went on, the group learned a lot. They were able to have interaction with the persons that were doing the narration. You continually hear me say that we don't use the connection of the World Heritage Site, and those folks were overwhelmed that we actually have that designation, because they are trying their utmost to receive that designation. And I continue to say that we in Bermuda do not realize the value of that designation.
Do they have any pleasant things to say about St. George's?
Well, there is a little bit about Bermuda itself. But on the Thursday, we had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Michael Elton, who is one of the leaders of the Sons of the American Revolution. And they're planning to do something in Bermuda in 2015. And he done a whole presentation on the gunpowder plot and the gunpowder scandal and the significance that Bermuda played in the survival of the Americas. And you can potentially hear me say that we gave them tobacco, we saved them from starvation, and we helped them to fight off our mother country with the smuggling of the gunpowder.
Great history.
Yeah, in itself. And I believe that we in Bermuda just need to basically go back to basics. And I believe that we would be able to enhance our tourism product very easily.
It has been ruled by a high court in England that a 2-year-old boy who is being kept in England by his mother must be returned to Bermuda. The boy's parents had married in 2009, and the toddler was later born in Bermuda. The parents began to have some issues in their marriage, at which time the mother went to England, claiming she had work commitments, but would return to Bermuda within weeks. However, she never did return to Bermuda, which led the father to launch a court case. In court, High Court Justice Thies stated that the mother is in a fragile emotional state and had been signed off of work since this past September due to stress and depression. Justice Thies went on to state that she felt it was in the child's best interest to return with his mother to Bermuda so that welfare issues between the two parties can be resolved in Bermuda. She determined that the courts in Bermuda would set a hearing date in the near future. The father of the child also agreed to provide financial assistance to the mother on the condition that she returned back to the island. Scuba Diving magazine has declared Bermuda to be the #1 wreck diving destination in the Caribbean and Atlantic by its 2014 Reader's Choice Awards. And in addition to being recognized as the best wreck diving destination, the popular Cristobal Colon wreck was named the best wreck dive as part of the magazine's Top 100 Gold list, all of which is music to the ears of Tourism Authority CEO Bill Hanbury. Bermuda offers a perfect dive location and is another area of potential growth, he said. We offer quite unique opportunities in terms of marine wildlife and fish, closeness to the shore, and more than 300 wreck diving sites. Still ahead is Rachel with the weather preview.
Thanks, Peter. Windy through this evening, breezy and cool tomorrow. On the radar, got a front coming through, so of course a lot of rain, but it looks like it's going to ease overnight. So please stay tuned for the full weather report as we take a closer look at the weekend.
The weather radar picture provided courtesy of the Ministry of Transport on Vsb Tv 11.
You can count on us.
Save $2 on vine on tomatoes, only $2.99 per pound. Save $1.40 per pound on fresh Purdue chicken drumsticks value pack, only $1.99 per pound. Great savings of 70 cents on a dozen imported white eggs, only $2.39. All varieties of the yogurt 6-ounce tubs, only 99 cents. Soak up savings with Scott White paper towels, only $1.99 per roll. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all net workable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
Digicel Postpaid Refresh is here. Get any of the latest smartphones with no money down. Easy monthly payments start at only $10 per month. Choose from a wide range of devices. Pay absolutely nothing up front and only $35 per month for a Samsung Galaxy S4 or $40 per month for a BlackBerry Q10. And then upgrade to a new smartphone whenever you like. Digicel Postpaid Refresh for all Digicel customers. Join Digicel today. Now you can bring your number with you. Visit DigicelBermuda.com for details. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Bermuda is an easy way to find great discounts while discovering fun activities to do in Bermuda.
Discover the best spas, restaurants, activities, services, and shops at 50% off.
Sign up to Bermuda and start saving today.
It may be hard to believe that a Rotary campaign to eradicate polio that was started in Bermuda in 1988 has raised $13 billion and come within a percentage point of expunging the disease from the earth. But it is this and the fact that they have reached their 90th birthday that has inspired the 4 local Rotary clubs to dedicate a Rotary clock to the man who started it all, Walter Maddox. Today, Charles Keller, who as Rotary International President worked with Mr. Maddox, and Dr. Robert Scott, Chairman of Polio Plus, visited the Cabinet Office today to pay their respects.
Walter Maddox came on board at a crucial time. Rotary had been working toward development of the program, and in about 1986 they decided to go ahead with it, and they needed to put together a team. And Walter Maddox volunteered to give 2 years of his life, almost 3 years of his life, and he wouldn't accept any compensation for it. He became the campaign chairman, and this was at a time when I became president of Rotary, and he and I worked together very closely. Walter was a remarkable person and is responsible in very large part for the success of the campaign. The most we'd ever raised in Rotary before that was $23 million in a year. And Walter went to work and we raised something over $240 million in that 1 year.
And got it started.
And so Rotary has always blessed his name, and we're very happy to be here in Bermuda to celebrate and to recognize the great contribution he made. And I think this is important. The world looks at Rotary differently because of Polio Plus. But even more important, Rotarians look at themselves differently because of Polio Plus. We recognize now we're capable of things much, much larger than ever before anticipated.
It is the only corporate program that we've ever undertaken, and it has been enormously successful, as you say. And yes, we're down to the last 0.1%, and I'm very confident that we will get over that, certainly within the next few years.
Any example in history of a group of ordinary people doing such a remarkable thing?
Not that I know of. There may be, but I don't know of any.
Worldwide, of course.
Worldwide.
The OBA has accused the opposition PLP of putting politics before the people by signing a minority report to an electoral joint committee's deliberations, claiming the 2 OBA members should have revealed their interest in government contracts. But the chairman of that committee, Walton Brown, says that there was a lot more of significance in the majority report.
The main sort of recommendation that came out of the report is that there be an electoral commission established, because under the current framework there is really no governing body that can examine the conduct of elections. The parliamentary registrar is very efficient and very professional, but has a limited range of powers. And so the consensus of the committee is that we should have an electoral commission that can examine any and all issues that pertain to elections, identify a code of conduct, looking at how the form, the electoral forms can be properly structured so there is no ambiguity, looking at a whole range of issues that have to do with elections. And I think if when we get to a discussion in Parliament, if we can get the House to agree that an electoral commission is the way forward, then we can have a non-partisan entity created that will be the appropriate adjudicator for all elections going forward.
Will they look into things like the size of Parliament? Member Sage made some recommendations there.
No, the Electoral Commission is designed really to look at the mechanics of elections and how they are conducted, as opposed to sort of larger political questions, which I suspect will want to be reserved by Parliament to examine.
There was the issue too, of course, of people registering in the wrong area or not registering at all. Is that kind of going to be covered too?
Well, exactly. What you want to have is absolute integrity in the electoral process, and there are times when you have people who live in one area and vote in another. That can be addressed in part through adequate canvassing by the candidates, but there also needs to be a proper mechanism in place to ensure that that is minimized to the extent possible. It won't be eliminated completely, but an electoral commission can identify the proper modalities for addressing that.
Now, here's the Reinsurance Business Report, presented by Bermuda Re.
Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re. With hurricane season some 2 months away, Florida's legislature wants to reduce the Hurricane Catastrophe Fund, FHCF, by $33 billion, a move that could spell opportunities for Bermuda's players, particularly those with capital markets. The recent bill, proposed by Republican Bill Hager, is motivated by the need to reduce the burden of estate-backed coverage on Florida's taxpayers and the rising availability of capital markets and traditional reinsurance capacity of increasingly competitive areas. A survey conducted by Towell Watson has found that insurance CFOs believe that the lower cost of capital afforded by alternative insurance options is the top benefit associated with the current soft market cycle. 88% of respondents said that their increasingly diverse alternative options are helping make their reinsurance purchases more competitive. 90% said that coverage capital had led to or is anticipated driving further decreases in reinsurance pricing. Mike McGarrick, CEO of XL Group, tells Bermuda Re that conditions are creating a tale of two cities and dividing those able to withstand the pressure of market conditions through underwriting rigor and close links with clients from those that are not. In spite of the current conditions, the dynamics of the cycle are establishing which reinsurers have the relationships and quality of underwriting to maintain lines and substantial relationships. The European Parliament has approved the Omnibus II directive, finalizing the new risk-based regulatory framework for Solvency II. Bermuda and European reinsurers can now begin to finalize their plans to implement Europe's great regulatory project, which will become law on January the 1st, 2016. Finally, AIG has launched a segregated cell captive, Grand Isle SAC, which will extend alternative risk financing facilities to small and medium-sized companies globally. Bermuda-domiciled Grand Isle will enable participants to access AIG's established capital insurance licenses and underwriting capabilities while driving down those costs associated with running their own captives, particularly as regards to regulatory requirements. That's Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re.
Now, here is a look at the daily markets, presented by Bias.
Here are the daily markets presented by Bias. Global stocks fell while U.S. Treasuries advanced on demand for haven assets, as tension persisted in the Ukraine and data from China missed estimates. U.S. stocks fell with the Standard & Poor's 500 index erasing its gains for the year. The Dow Jones closed down 1.41% to 16,109, while the S&P 500 lost 1.17% to close at 1,846. 15,071 shares of Bank of Butterfield traded at $2 per share. 1,000 shares of Argus Group traded at $4.05. 500 shares of Ascendant Group traded at $8. And 100 shares of Keytech traded at $5.40. All prices were unchanged from the previous session. European stocks declined as a slump in W.M. Morrison supermarkets led retailers lower. The UK's FTSE 100 lost 1.01% to close at 6,554, while Germany's DAX fell 1.86% to end at 9,018. Asian shares cautiously rebounded from two-week lows, but gains were pared after disappointing retail sales and factory output data underscored investors' concerns over slowdown in China. Latin American stocks declined in line with U.S. markets. The Vsb fell 0.91% as concern that Brazil's credit rating will be cut offset a surprise increase in retail sales and a rally by power utilities. Treasuries rose as investors seeking a refuge from the risk that the turmoil in Ukraine's Crimea region will worsen bolstered demand for safe assets. Yields on 10-year Treasuries slid 7 basis points to 2.67%. The euro fell against the dollar after the European Central Bank signaled its monitoring gains in the currency for deflation risks. The U.S. dollar was weaker versus most other major trading peers. That was a look at the daily markets presented by Bias. There's more news after the break.
Save $1.50 per pound on fresh XL assorted pork chops, only $3.49 per pound. Save $4 per package on fresh strawberries, just $4.99 for a 1-pound packet. Simply 5,000 double-rolled toilet tissue, only $3.49 for a package of 4. Makes a great and quick meal. ShopRite spaghetti, only $1.19 for a 16-ounce box. Save 80 cents on 1-liter bottles of regular or Diet Coke or regular Sprite soda, only $2.09. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
For much more furniture, visit Bermuda's only Ashley Furniture Gallery. Big Savings Zone. You want the best? Forget the rest. For all your furniture needs, shop Big Savings Zone and support your local retailers. Have you ever ordered something online expecting it to be a certain price, but when it arrives it ends up being a whole lot more? Beware of those unexpected hidden fees. That never happens at Big Savings Zone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
Health insurance is a concern to everyone, but especially to seniors who often can't afford health plans that include access to services such as the air ambulance. Moongate Insurance is reaching out to seniors in the hopes of enabling them to have a health plan that will offer the air ambulance and a host of other services. CEO of Moongate Insurance, Leon Bascom, spoke to Vsb News about this insurance option, which is called Health Gap AC.
We're looking to close the gap, and one of the features of this package is actually coming from the international side. And what we're doing is providing certain things like bill negotiation services. We are providing alternative locations in terms of obtaining medical care. We're also providing very important and very prestigious doctors who are going to be able to provide additional reference services. A number of people have come into our offices and they've said that they've had to pay $1,400 and $1,500 a month with regard to health insurance, and it's like, you know, I'm 63 years old and this is what I have to pay. And so it was important for us to focus on how can we help to reduce that cost by using sort of like a base policy and add features to that policy so that it's not as expensive. I think that a majority of people do have health insurance. Certainly over time, you know, people have had their challenges with regard to the private sector. It all depends on their personal situation and whether there have been increases in their premiums. But you know, for those who don't have health insurance, I think that we have come up with an alternative.
Next Wednesday, an event titled Health Gap will be held that will feature keynote speakers who will focus on the health industry and how it affects seniors. One of the speakers will be Dr. Kewan Brown, who makes an effort to decrease the costs of health checkups for seniors. Mr. Bascom explained what people can expect to hear from Dr. Brown.
We would like for him to talk about the importance of getting health screening, getting checkups, and ensuring that people are in general good health. He's been one of the earliest proponents of being a part of the whole Health Gap series, and what he's done is he's offered a very significant discount in terms of the copay in order to ensure that people can get an entire full physical.
The Health Gap event will be held on March 19th at the Cathedral Hall on Church Street from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. To register to attend, contact Age Concern or email ageconcern@northrock.bm. The sports report is next after the break. The president of the Bermuda Bicycle Association, Peter Dunn, told VSB Sports which athletes' names were put forward for next weekend's Sports Awards ceremony. In the second part of an interview, he explains that the sport of cycling has seen increased participation.
Safe to say, Peter, cycling is well.
Oh, it's extremely well, and on all fronts now. Mountain biking growth has been exceptional, due largely to the guys at the Fat Tire Massive Club, and they've really done a great job to boost the sport. Road racing, it's going well. We think we're going to have a huge season, if indicated by we had a preseason team time trial with 100 participants, which is probably 5 times as many as we did the last time we had it. So it really is growing well, and if you look out on the roads, you see how active it is, and as the weather's improving now, spring is definitely upon us, that we're seeing even more people come out. So it's great. Sports very well.
The annual Sports Awards is coming up real fast on us. Each NSGB puts forward certain names. Got to ask you, who did you put forward?
We put forward 3 women who all had great years last year. Gabriella Arnold, who's a junior, she's in last year as a junior. She came 3rd in the Caribbean Championships. She's won every national championship locally, that's 4 of them, for the last 3 years running. So she clearly has been an exceptional young athlete, and she's also been nominated for one of the Junior Sports Recognition Awards from the Department of Youth and Sport. And then Nicole Mitchell and Zonique Williams, who both had great performance at the Caribbean Championships, and both of them have had great years, and we're expecting them to continue that sort of performance in 2014.
Choose to be healthy, Bermuda. Get out there and exercise with a sunscreen hat and shirt on every day. Eat healthy, don't smoke, and check your brown spots once a month to detect skin cancer early. Anything growing darker, bigger, jagged borders needs to be checked. Wear your sunscreen hat and shirt every day. Be sun safe, Bermuda.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's VSB weather forecast. Our weather shot is brought to us by Dennis Whitehead, taken at 2:45 this afternoon. John Smith Bay, a lot of wind, it's a lot of surf, got white caps out on the water. Absolutely, it's quite beautiful this morning before the rain came with the cold front that passed through. But thank you, Dennis, for setting in the last of the sunshine for today. Temperatures for today, we had a high of 75 at noon and a low of 69 at 5 in the morning. Current conditions, 70 degrees, humidity 85%, winds west-southwest 25 to 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots, and barometric pressure is falling at 29.74 inches. Rainfall index for the month of March, 2.14, for a yearly total of 16.45. Yearly normal for this time is 12.17 inches. And looking at the satellite, a cold front will bring strong to gale force winds, showers, and possibly thunderstorms through early evening. The front passes this evening with high pressure building behind it, bringing fair weather and light to moderate winds for the weekend. And if you're traveling, Atlanta, mostly sunny, 63. Boston, partly cloudy, 36. Charlotte, mostly sunny and 62. London, partly cloudy, 57. Miami, 76, partly cloudy. New York, 42, partly cloudy. Orlando 75, mostly sunny. Philadelphia partly cloudy, 47. Toronto cloudy, 39. And Washington mostly sunny and 56 degrees. Back at home tonight, showers, a chance of thunder in the early evening, easing overnight, low near 62. Wind south-southwest 25 to 35 knots with gusts up to 45 knots. And then sort of backing west-northwest 20 to 30 knots, and then veering northwest overnight. And tomorrow, sunny periods, 1 or 2 morning showers, turning partly cloudy with a high near 62. Winds northwest, 20 to 30 knots, and then gradually veering north-northeast, 10 to 15 knots. Marine tonight, we've got a gale warning, a thunder advisory, and a small craft warning. With seas inside the reef, 2 to 4 feet. Seas outside the reef, 8 to 15 feet. And the sea surface temperature is 69 degrees. Marine tomorrow, small craft warning, seas inside the reef 2 to 4 feet, seas outside the reef 8 to 18 feet, high tide will be at 7 to 52 in the morning, and low tide will be at 2:16 in the afternoon. And looking at the 5-day forecast, Saturday, mostly cloudy, becoming partly cloudy overnight, high near 63. Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, breezy with a high near 66. Monday, mostly cloudy with showers in the evening and overnight, windy with a high near 70. And Tuesday, mostly cloudy with showers and high near 70. Thank you to Jeremy Entwistle, our meteorologist for tonight, and everyone at the Bermuda Weather Service. I'm Rachel Sodden. Have a great evening.
Thanks for tuning in to the TV 11 News. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited. Wardrobe and makeup for Rachel Sodden, provided by Gibbons Company.
Vsb TV 11, Bermuda.